Okay. Full screen this. Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order at 2:10 p.m. To start us off, I will do a roll call. My name is Nathan Binstock. I'm here as the chair. Mia Keene, are you here? I'm not seeing Mia. Robert Epler? Here. Simra, are you here? I'm not seeing Simra. Amara, are you here, present, or on Teams? So in person, or on Teams. Okay, there we go. I've got the Teams call shown on the live stream right now, by the way, y'all. 1 second. Okay, Amara is here. Kate, are you here?
Yeah.
Sean, are you here in person or on Teams? Okay, Tanya? Yeah, we can hear you. Just a little quiet. Okay, Tanya's here. Esperanza?
I'm here.
Okay, Esperanza's here. Frederick? Not seeing Frederick. Angel, are you here? Here. Okay. Omulumi? Okay, Omulumi is here on Teams. Mason, are you here? I'm not seeing Mason. Charlie, are you here? Here. Okay. Andrew Murga? I'm not seeing Andrew. Henry Whalen? Here. Okay. Casey Soper? I'm not seeing Casey. Andrew Phelan? Not seeing Andrew. Okay, those are all of our members of Fee. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 members of Fee present. We have 18 members, and while the quorum isn't in our constitution, Robert's rule states that you need a majority of members present in order to conduct business, and 11 is a majority out of 18. So that is great news. That means we can conduct some business here today. With that being said, I'm going to screen share our agenda. I'm gonna see if I can screen share it to the people on Teams also, but that might be difficult. Let's see. You know, I've got way too many tabs open. Yep, let me try this really quick. Okay. Does this look ridiculous to the people on Teams, or can you see like the agenda right now? Yeah. Okay, great. I want to make this work as best as possible for as many people as possible. So that is good. Our first order of business here is the approval of the minutes. I have the minutes open right here. Now, something I will say first here, the way we're going to do this, the approval of the minutes, you can read about it in Robert's rules in the procedures defined in 41.9, if you're curious and reading along. We're going to do it by just seeing if we have any corrections here, and then it doesn't need a motion to be approved. It's just if there's no objections or no corrections, then our minutes are approved. That being said, there are actually a fair number of corrections I have here. One thing to be clear, I went through these minutes. I did not thoroughly verify the accuracy of every part of the minutes compared to the recording and what happened. That's just purely because of how long our proceedings were and kind of the lack of time I've had over the past week. But I did confirm that all of the votes contained within these minutes are correct. To be clear, I'm the only one with access to our votes. Our votes took place on Microsoft Forms. I'm the only one who can access all of the original forms. So I can confirm whether the voting records contained on these minutes are authentic. And there are a couple discrepancies. I have no idea why. Part of it could just be like whenever it exports from the form to Excel, there could be some discrepancies, but we will talk through these and make sure everything's correct here. And then also a few people reached out with corrections, so that'll be good. I think the way we'll do this is, Kate, since you took minutes and you have the Word document, not the PDF, could you just mark the corrections that we agree to as we agree to them?
Yeah.
Could you do it in revising mode on Word too? Mm-hmm. Okay. Do we have any questions about our procedure here before we move on? In person or online? Okay. Seeing no questions, I will start out with some of my corrections. The first thing,
Wait, can you give me, sorry, I don't know this actually.
let me pull this up in the meantime. Okay,
We're good.
is this the one? I should have. Here we are. Okay, this is the first change. This one's pretty easy. On page 12, it says Angel Rivera moved to vote on a 410 increase for the recreation maintenance fee. I'm pretty sure that's what we're talking about. Recreation facility maintenance. This motion was seconded to a vote and adopted unanimously. This table matched up for me, but because Simra voted no, sorry, I did not mean to do that. It should not be adopted unanimously. Is there any objections to changing our minutes here to reflect how we've been writing it in other places like here, with blank votes in the affirmative and probably gonna be 10 votes in the affirmative and 1 in the negative? Seeing unanimous consent, it is so ordered. Let's see what other changes I had. Kate, did you get all that?
Yeah.
Okay.
11-1.
Great. Another one I had. Okay, I did want y'all's input on this. I don't think our recesses were reflected here. I think that's purely because all our recesses were adopted by unanimous consent. Would we like our recesses listed on our minutes here? For those on Teams, because I don't have you focused on my screen right now, I might need you to raise your hand, and that's the only way I'll be able to recognize you. So please use the raise hand feature on Teams.
I don't.
Just, and someone in person, like, raise your hand if you have any comments on whether we should list the recesses. Okay?
What is the rationale for adding in the recesses? Because they're not supposed to be added in, I think it's ambiguous in Robert's rules, so I went on a forum board and they said no.
Okay. Does anyone else have any comments regarding the recesses?
Well, is there a reason why?
Yeah, my reasoning is recess is a motion under Robert's rules. I'm seeing them listed as motion, like 79 and 80 on the table of rules relating to motions. Table 26 is where I'm seeing it. So it is a motion, and our general understanding has been to try to include all motions and points within the minutes. So is there anyone, I want to hear from anybody who does not want to include them on the minutes. Okay. Seeing nobody that does not want to include the recesses on the minutes, we will do so by unanimous consent. Okay. Great. It is so ordered. And I can help you out finding a couple of them. We'll probably just do that through the live stream. Yeah, go ahead. Absolutely. Send that to me. Send that to me at rsf@ku.edu and send that to Kate at your internal affairs director email. Okay. Great. That'll be a big help. Thank you. Okay. Let me see what else I have listed here. Bus procurement. I think there was an issue with those votes. Okay. Sorry guys, I have about 14 million tabs open right now and I've never run a meeting like this, so please bear with me. I'll try to get us out of here as soon as reasonably possible. Okay. So bus procurement here on the minutes. On the motion to vote on a $2.50 increase on bus procurement, here it says it was adopted with 8 votes in the affirmative and 4 in the negative. I have in my records it was adopted by unanimous consent with 11 votes in the affirmative. Is there anybody who does not agree with that? Meaning you think what is listed here is correct or something else is correct besides everyone voting yes. Please think back, check any records you have, check the live stream if you think there's time. And if you want us to wait and come back to this, we can do so. But I'm seeing that everybody voted yes. 11 people, so everyone but Mason, voted yes to increase bus procurement by 250 to a total of 3055. Okay, seeing nobody, and no one's raising their hands, okay. Seeing nobody, it is so ordered, and the minutes will be corrected to reflect the unanimous consent on this motion. Okay. Just a few more, y'all. Okay, next is LSS. Okay, here's what it says. Someone should check really quick if that looks the same as the bus procurement, because that explains the error that was had. Because then if this is the same as bus procurement, that means there was some copy and paste error. But let me see what I have for LSS. For LSS, on the minutes, it says the motion was put to a vote and adopted with 8 votes in the affirmative and 4 in the negative. I'm seeing 10 votes in the affirmative and 1 in the negative on my records. Does anybody disagree with that? Okay, so if there's no disagreement, we will amend the minutes in order to reflect 10 votes in the affirmative and 1 vote negative in regards to keeping LSS flat at 1975. Okay, it is so ordered. Okay, Simra had a correction. Simra is not here, but Simra did have a correction that she wanted to share. Hold on, guys. This will take me 1 second to find. Okay. Oh, please let me just slot it in. Lovely. Good. Can everybody see Simra's correction here? I'm assuming yes. So the Simra wrote up a little change summary. I think the main change is just who is arguing for the increase for a new attorney. Since Simra isn't here, Robert, do you think this accurately reflects what happened during deliberations? If you need some time to check, that's okay.
I didn't argue for an increase of the new attorney. I just inquired about it.
Okay. So since Simra's not here, I think the best course of action is just to scratch this line. We're okay with that? Okay. Yeah, so it was either that or change it from argued to inquired, but I think we should just scratch it since Simra isn't here to argue your point. Okay, great. So, yeah, what's your question? Okay, Tanya, thank you. That's all right. Kate, I really appreciate you taking the detailed notes. Kate took the minutes for the meetings, so that's what we're going to rely on right now. If we want like the verbatim of what was said, we've got a live stream for that, so that's what we're going to rely on. But yeah, I thank you. I really appreciate that. We'll just go ahead and scratch this line from our minutes for now, and then folks can refer to, it looks like this timestamp on the live stream if they want to see exactly what was said here. Go ahead.
May your advisor offer a correction on this section?
Is it something separate or is this the same?
On this, it's
On this
a
section,
separate
just something else? Okay.
item on this section.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just that I think the advisor made a comment. I'm unsure why we would cut, why we would give a department extra funding when we're cutting, unrequested extra funding when we're cutting other departments.
Kate, can you confirm if that's listed there in the minutes already or no?
It was-
I
there was
concur
a-
with what what Monique is saying.
There was a statement about, oh, no, not here, actually in that section.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, 'cause I was
advisors?
unsure
Okay,
why
okay, I see, I
it should
see.
be fund certain departments and cut other ones, that's just a.
Oh, okay. So I don't have access to this, so what the proposal is to swap the words fund and cut.
Like over allocate to certain departments,
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying, I
Okay.
got you.
Okay, could we get the clear like phrasing for what the change we want?
I would just have it say, unsure why we would give a department more than they've asked when we're cutting other departments.
So,
Give a,
unsure why we would give a department
more than they requested.
more than they requested and cut other ones.
I remember that moment, I was concerned about the optics of that for you all.
Kate, do you have that reflected?
Mhm.
Are there any objections to making that change for the advisors line? Okay. Seeing unanimous consent, it is so ordered. And then back to the Robert and Simra thing, are there any objections to just cutting this whole line? And then folks can refer to the live stream if they want to see exactly what was said. Seeing no objections, it is so ordered. Okay. I have been informed that people potentially cannot hear the Teams audio on the live stream. I think I understand why, so we may take a bit of a break to fix that. We're gonna keep running right now because we're just doing minutes corrections. What I'll do for now, I'm just going to repeat everything that's said on Teams. Okay. Hold on 1 second. Okay. That is all the corrections I had or was informed of before today's meeting. First, anyone in person, are there any further corrections? Okay. Seeing no corrections from anyone here in person, online, are there any further corrections to the minutes? That means, seeing no objections, our minutes are approved. Seeing no objections, it is so ordered. Okay, great. We've gotten through the first point on our agenda here, and we have approved last deliberations minutes. Now we're going to get into officer reports. I will start us off. I'm going to apologize because this may be a little bit lengthy. Okay, I'm going to give myself 10 minutes because it'll probably take, I'll say 15 because I want you guys to have an opportunity to ask questions. Okay. So first off, happy Friday the 13th. Thanks for meeting today. I know it was really short notice, but I really appreciate everybody who's here in person, everybody who's here on Teams, and because we've got some business left before I present on Wednesday with the fee package. So I think it's really important we have a chance to kind of talk again and get through everything we have here on the agenda. So the first point I wanted to really quickly touch on, because this is the most important update I have. Before I get into this too, one thing I want to say for y'all, but the main point of this officer report, I just want to give everybody a heads up who is on the committee and then anybody who's watching on the live stream. A lot of what I'm going to say right now is going to be repeated at Finance Council. And I apologize for that, but also I want to keep what I'm saying consistent, and I think you all deserve kind of a heads up. The first thing that I've been informed of, and I think is the most important thing, I believe the Kansas legislature, or at least KBOR, has recently been discussing keeping tuition and fees flat for fiscal year 27. There's nothing that has been directly ordered so far or directed towards us in any way, but this is something that I really need to be on everybody's radar. I can't say with certainty what our maximum fee amount to raise it, or even if we can raise it this year. But I will say that the 3% that we were at the understanding of from our first deliberations, I don't know if that is the most accurate number anymore. I will quickly, while I'm speaking, defer to our advisor here for any more details.
So you can read about it in the Lawrence Journal World. There's an article that came out late Wednesday, maybe Thursday morning. It is a proposal in the Kansas House that would require Board of Regents institutions to be flat with tuition and fees, plus a pretty substantial cut to higher education. So whether or not that is successful, we do not yet know. There is no mandate coming right now to you from KU Finance regarding what you do with this proposal, but staying in the flat territory is probably the safest. That's where, I mean, you all are there now. So that's just, we wanted you to know. And we may not know more on this until, it looks like on February 19th, if I understand this correctly. The Senate gives the House some proposals, the House gives the Senate some proposals, and so we may have a better sense of what's passed from one chamber to the next on the 19th, but that is after Finance Council.
Okay, thank you. And then I'll leave any extra details or anything there for your officer report too. So that is the most important point. Second, I want to talk about our last deliberations and kind of our intermediate period a little bit. I have some comments I plan to make at Finance Council, like I mentioned, and in the interest of transparency and maybe to get some of y'all's feedback in like a bit of a question period here, I thought I'd share some of the comments here today. First, I just feel like this point needs to be reiterated. Any communications that were not directly from me or our advisors or the rsf@ku.edu email, those were not official and they do not represent the RSF committee in any way, shape, or form. This is something you were all reminded of on numerous occasions, and any actions undertaken by committee members without my express involvement were done so in your own personal capacity. That also applies to any further communication you wish to pursue. Just you can talk about whatever information is public knowledge. Just please make it clear that these are your own. These statements are being made in your own personal capacity. This is important. This is in our Constitution. It's in Title V, Article 2, Section 3, that the chair of the Finance Council is responsible for all communications on behalf of the RSF committee. Second point, our hearings and the following deliberations follow the guidelines laid out by both our Student Senate Constitution and Robert's Rules of Order. No concerns warranting a ruling from me. Okay, just to be clear, I'm reading from something I wrote right now, so sorry if it's a bit monotone. No concerns warranting a ruling from me as the chair were brought to my attention before or after deliberations, and then all concerns raised during the meeting were dealt with on recording and according to Robert's rules. So here's what that means for everybody here right now. You need to make a point of parliamentary inquiry if you have a question regarding how our deliberations are unfolding, and you need to make a point of order if you want me to make a ruling on that. That is how I can make a decision as a chair about our proceedings here. And nothing has been brought to my attention that required a ruling based on our Student Senate Constitution and Robert's Rules of Order. Meaning I will say we followed those to the best of my knowledge. Okay. My next point, and I do apologize for part of this, but I think it's important to make this clear. And then I'll kind of talk about where I'm at right now after. But I am disappointed with several aspects of this year's fee review process. For the record, if the margin had been close enough to allow me to intervene as the chair, I would have voted no and forced the committee to reconvene on a Saturday. I feel like we would have benefited from additional discussion on the fee package for a few reasons. First, I think what seemed to be our most drastic cuts came towards the end of deliberations without any motions to re-examine any fees. Part of this is intentional. Part of it's my responsibility. I told you all at the start of that meeting, it'd be best to start with the easier request of flat funding that we were likely to agree upon. But then as time ran long and the room kind of grew weary, I think we would have had more robust discussion given different circumstances. Also, throughout deliberations, several points were raised and that regarded outside information not obtained during hearings or deliberations. They still held bearing on the discussion at hand and they weren't ruled non-germane. But I think given more time and clear communication, we could have made progress here to ensure that everybody was on the same page. And then lastly, we did have committee members who had to leave before deliberations adjourned. Obviously, we're not in an ideal spot today. We do have quorum, but not everybody is here clearly. We did have at least 11 of our 12 voting members accounted for throughout the entire deliberation. So thank you so much for that. I really, really appreciate it. More than we had last year and more than I'm sure we've had in previous years. That's obviously a quorum too, but one voting member and then several ex officio and non-voting members chose to leave partway for a variety of different reasons. So even though, and given those updates that I've shared today, with my role as the chair of the RSF committee, I'm going to present the fee package on Wednesday in the full hopes of its passage. Regardless of any discussion you've heard both inside and outside of the committee, I need to sincerely thank you all for your participation. You've all been balancing school, research, part-time jobs, 20 plus hours of hearings and deliberations, and who knows how much work outside of that. Please know it's not gone unrecognized, and you all have my full support, and I'm sure the full support of our advisors throughout this process. Please don't hesitate to talk to any of us. Couple comments about today. Let me make sure I'm still good on time. Yeah, I got like 7 minutes. Today, don't say anything that was not discussed during hearings or our last deliberations or doesn't hold bearing on our agenda here. Any speech that's not germane to these topics will be gabbled down and stricken from the record. Give each other your full attention. Refrain from typing or other communications while someone has the floor. Obviously, I'm not saying don't take notes. So as long as you're carefully considering what we all have to say, that's all I'm going to ask. Don't be afraid to raise points of parliamentary inquiry for questions about procedure, but remember, I'm only going to rule on an issue if you make a point of order. You'll also all get a chance to give a speech about the fee package as a whole on Wednesday, but keep discussion today on just what's before us. I will say it'll be clear on the agenda how much time we'll have for everything, and I'll try to be as clear as possible what everything's going to look like in my officer report on Wednesday. But understand we're going to have limited time on Wednesday, so not everybody who wishes to speak may be given a chance to speak. I'm going to prioritize voting members of the fee review committee, and then voting members of finance, and then just students who are there in the audience, and then we'll try to get as many people to get their word out as possible. That's all I've got. What questions do we have? Let's start in person. Seeing no questions in person, are there any questions online? Tanya, you have your hand raised?
Yeah, I do have my hand raised, and I'll also type out like my question word for word just for posterity of the live stream. So you mentioned earlier a flat fee. Since our fee is lower than flat, I believe by $2.20, would a tuition/fee freeze require us to increase our fee, which is a decrease?
Okay, one thing I'll say, I think I fixed the live stream issue, so someone can tell me if I'm wrong, but hopefully that picked up much better than it was before on the live stream. If it did not, Tanya asked a question. Okay, audio works now, beautiful. Tanya asked a question regarding the tuition/fee freeze and how that will affect our fee package as it stands, which is around $2 less than the current fee. I do not know. I will say common sense. If they're saying the most you can do is keep it flat, if we're below that, I think we're fine. Perhaps our advisors can give some more detail during their officer report, but I don't see a problem. Online, any further questions? In person, any further questions? Okay, seeing no questions, thank you. We will now move on to the next part of our agenda, which is an officer report from our advisors. Do you have anything else to share?
I just want to echo what Nathan said. The university entrusts you with this process. It's a hard process. It's a very significant responsibility, and we see how much time you give to this process that does not go unnoticed. So I really appreciate everything that you do to commit to being in this space and being in this room. The only other thing I wanted to really share with you today was the legislative update, which again is not a mandate at this point, just wanting to keep you informed about what's happening in the state legislature. So to answer Tanya's question, the recommendation to kind of hover around flat is a ceiling. So you don't have to meet it. You could be underneath that. And right now there is no mandate. So if after all this process you go a little bit higher, right now there is no mandate that you do anything specific. If that changes in the process, we will let you know. But there's maybe some risk right, that could change in the process and we might get a mandate that we need to abide by.
Yeah.
Any questions?
What questions do we have for our advisors? Any questions in person first?
And I forgot one thing.
Okay, seeing no questions in person, we'll go online and then we'll go back to our advisors. Seeing no questions online. Okay, the floor is yours again.
I made, in the resolution document, I made a comment. I'm happy to answer questions about that when you get to that discussion if you have any.
Great. Last call for questions? Okay, I think we are all good there. So we will go ahead and move on to the next part of our agenda. That is updated fee survey results. First thing I want to say here, I apologize. I do not really have updated fee survey results for a variety of reasons. Let me quickly check if this link works. Okay, cool. So this link on our minutes and in our last agenda, these are currently the most up-to-date versions of the fee survey results. As I went over last time, you've got, this is the exact same, Simra, I know you're not here, but I'm very sorry, this typo is still not fixed yet. It is on my end, but I'll explain that in a second. Nothing else to go over that we haven't gone over here. This is still the old summarized data from before. So the update I have regarding that, there have been some concerns raised regarding student privacy of the full results. I've received a few requests on the free response data and just seeing some of the data behind the summary and everything that we made public through the document that's linked on the minutes. I want to be able to provide that to you all, but I currently do not have the capacity or the knowledge to summarize that data in a sufficient way before Wednesday. And I also do not have the capacity or time or resources to redact those free responses in a way that will protect student privacy sufficiently before Wednesday also. I will direct anybody who wants access to that free response data to the Kansas Open Records Act process, and the data can potentially be accessed through those means. I really want to apologize. This is something that I've worked on really hard and tried to prepare in time. And I have something more or less ready to put out, but not in a way that will protect privacy of students who fill out the survey while also promoting transparency. So in order to balance those concerns as best as possible, please refer to what's already out there and the Kansas Open Records Act. Are there any questions in person? Seeing no questions in person, are there any questions online? Tanya, go ahead.
Okay, I have a question online. And I
You're
think
a
it's
little bit
more so
quiet,
for-
I'm sorry. Could you speak up a bit or turn up your mic?
Yeah, is this better?
That's definitely better, thank you.
Okay. I guess more so for the benefit of the live stream and those unfamiliar with the process, could we link that in the minutes or describe the process in the minutes? Just for any viewers or anyone out there?
Okay, I have a link to refer people to. generalcounsel.ku.edu/open-records. That is what I've been told to refer people to. We can put that link on the minutes. I'll send it to Kate right now. I personally do not have any further details. Do our advisors have any details about this process? I'm so sorry, but.
Just that you can submit a request through that link. There's a form I suspect you fill out or information that you provide. And then staff time is allocated to, if it's authorized to be released, staff time is allocated to appropriately redact the document for release. There could be charges associated. That may be spelled out on that website.
I'm going to show the chat really quick on the live stream for this meeting chat. This is the link I'm referring to. Okay. Does anyone else online have any further points? Tanya, your hand's still up if you have any follow-up. Okay.
My apologies, no.
Okay, all good. In person, anything? Okay. And again, I'm so sorry about that. I want to share everything I can, I promise. Okay. hold on, let me get back to our agenda. So, seeing no more questions or anything, we're gonna move on to our deliberations for today. I split this up into two places, just to be clear, and as you can all tell, today's kind of flowing a little bit differently. That is for a couple reasons. First, we had a clear process for the motions and what needed to be motioned and voting on last time, so I'll try to make that clear to you all as we're moving into our deliberations. So I have a draft RSF bill. This will be the bill that we submit that will go along with my presentation to the Finance Council and will be submitted on the legislation tracker. Here, it's a work in progress, so I don't think we'll need a motion to approve this because this is just part of the legislative process and it's going to be approved by the council and the assembly anyway. I'm just looking for feedback from you all here. That's all I want on the draft RSF bill. And then for resolutions, for those, I'm actually going to have us do a motion on each of them to approve, and then we'll do a motion to approve all of our resolutions. Honestly, if we approve every resolution, that's fine. We don't need to do a motion on all of them. So we'll motion on the resolutions one by one, make sure we agree on those, and that'll be the only real motions required there. But please do make any other motions that are in order. Kate, you have a point of parliamentary inquiry?
Yes, are we allowed to add motions today? Or, sorry, resolutions?
Yeah, absolutely, okay. So like I said, you can make any motions that are in order. Resolutions, I currently have the ones on the doc that have been sent to me beforehand. We can absolutely add resolutions to this document. Let's go ahead, we're gonna start with things that are written out there, purely because that's easier and I wanna respect those who took the time to write out the resolutions. Are there any questions before we get started on Teams? Okay, seeing no questions on Teams, no more in person before we get started. Robert, do you have a question?
No, we'll get to it later.
Okay, let's get into the draft RSF bill first, because that's first on the agenda. I apparently can't left click. All right, there we go. So let me go over this really quick. Yeah, this should be really quick. So this is pretty similar to what we submitted last year. It's got the standard student senate formatting. I have the section of the Constitution that authorizes us to review the student fees, the dates we completed hearings and deliberations, including this date. And then this bill reflects what our proposal was. This is the information from the working spreadsheet that Casey Haney, our advisor, was working towards. You have the current rate, so currently we're in fiscal year 26, and then the approved rate for fiscal year 27. To be clear, this is our proposal. It says approved rate because if this bill is voted in, that's what's going to be approved. But right now, it's just our proposal coming out of this committee. So I have this table linked for you all, but we come out to a total of $530.30 as opposed to the current rate of $532.50. So that is a $2.50 decrease. Is there anybody who believes the information on this table is not accurate? I'm not seeing anything in person on Teams. Okay. I'm not seeing anything on Teams either. So it looks like this table is accurate. Please, if you take some time to confirm it going forwards and you find something is inaccurate, let me know as soon as possible because this is what we're voting on. Like this is what officially goes into our records, and then my presentation should reflect the same information, but that's just how I'm presenting it. This is our official legislation that's going to be the information put into our budget book. Okay. So next, this is what I really need some feedback from you all. This part, the be it further enacted here, this was not in last year. There was a concern raised during deliberations that not all of our fee entities are accurately reflected within our Constitution. To be clear, I'm referring to, I'll pull this up really quick so I can be clear what I'm referring to. Sorry for the delay. Okay. So, on our Constitution, I'm referring to Title V of the Budget Code, Article 3, required student fees. So here, we kind of list out all of the fees that are authorized, but there are a few missing here. That doesn't mean that we can't proceed with the student fee process and allocate money to these groups, especially because this is what we've been doing for multiple years. But looking through past legislative records, we actually used to amend these fees here and list the actual fee amount. I don't think we should do that. What I think we should do is we should list this kind of information and make sure all fees are included. I don't know which fees are not included. It says work in progress on this document because I have not checked yet. I haven't had the time. But what I would put here is purely a benign constitutional amendment that does not reflect anything not in the fee package, that just adds it so they're all listed there. Let's hear, I just want to hear feedback. Let's start with Kate.
I agree that this should be the case. I would also like to add, there is a number explicitly for the Burge Union, which is incorrect. Could we add amending that to reflect what we approved in addition to all the other fee entities we added?
Okay, I want to be careful there because I don't know the exact number. The best number I'm going to be working from is what is provided to us by Casey Haney through simulation files. I think that's correct, and from a point of information, I believe the reason the number is incorrect is because when we combined fees with the Edwards campus, that realignment changed the number. So even though the fee is fixed, the number changed. Is there anyone with more information there?
I cannot explain it in the level of detail that Casey or Rhonda could, but none of the entities were negatively impacted, but there were some shifting of nickels here and there because of the fee alignment, fee realignment.
Is there anybody on Teams who has any comments on this specific part of our draft bill? Okay, Tanya, go ahead.
I was wondering.
You're very quiet again, I'm so sorry.
Okay, sorry. I was wondering, would it be possible to maybe collect a statement as RSF from Casey as to why that is and include it? Because that confuses me why a fixed fee would change.
Yeah, so I don't know. I will, hold on. I'll defer to our advisors for that. What I want to do, like, this is not required to be in our bill, clearly because it was not there last year. If there is any hesitation here, that's what I'm trying to gauge. If there's hesitation here, if we think there's going to be any confusion or, I guess, backlash here on amending our constitution purely to reflect all of the fees that are already in this package, if there's any confusion there, I don't think we should do this. But I'll leave it to our advisors if we think we can get a comment from Casey Haney on that. If we want Teams, or I don't know if she's available.
Casey is not working today.
Okay, so then we shouldn't worry about it. So we don't have a definitive answer. We can roll with that.
I don't know what that answer would do for this process,
Yeah.
but I think if you wanted to have, it probably should be Rhonda Sharp. Rhonda and Sharp could, the two of them could probably provide something to Finance Council or to Student Senate to explain what that process was.
Okay, I agree, and we'll move on because we don't need the exact answer to that question to do what we need to do here today. Kate, I'll go back to you. Better hand up for a minute.
Yeah, like, just to be clear, I don't take issue with the number or the process by which we reach this number. I take issue with the fact that, like, the fixed number that after, like, post Edwards campus reallocation is 1840, and our constitution says it's 1870. So I feel like while we're here amending the constitution, we should make sure that number in the constitution says 1840, just so it's all above board.
Okay, let me write that down really quick, but we will move on to a slightly different question here in 1 second. I just want to make sure I note that. Okay, I need to hear from anybody with any potential concerns about amending this part of the Constitution, this article in the Constitution to add new fees. Add anything that's missing. Does anybody have any concerns here at all? Robert, do you have a concern?
Yeah, I have concern that it's all in the same bill for the fee package,
Could you explain?
because rights, similar to how funding bills go to finance, constitutional amendments go to rights, and unless this is generated in assembly, then it has to go to council. So if it's general assembly, it doesn't have to go to councils.
Okay, so this presents a interesting constitutional issue that I clearly, as the chair of finance council, do not have sole jurisdiction over. I want to hear just quickly from anyone else. Does anybody else feel similarly on Teams or in person? Dr. Davis? Okay, Kate feels similarly. Our advisors?
What I can add, you may recall when we opened deliberations, we mentioned that we had actually found the legislation that added SAPEC. That would be more in line with Robert's thinking. It was a separate constitutional
Okay.
amendment from the fee bill.
That is great to know. With all that understanding, I think I'm just going to nix this part of the RSF bill, and then we will do this at a later date. And we have time, plenty of time in legislative cycles remaining to do so.
Absolutely.
Any final comments here before we move on this particular point? I'm gonna go revising mode and then. Okay, who in person has anything? Who online has anything? Just regarding that part? Okay, seeing nothing, we'll go. Robert, do you have any- and this is about the constitutional amendment part specifically.
I'll tell you later, actually.
Okay, cool. So we've decided not to include that, perfectly fine. We've done fine with that, but before, here is, okay, those are the resolutions. We'll skip that because that's next. Yeah, last thing I wanted input from you all is the transmission of the copies. Currently you can see it's work in progress. Last year, we submitted it to just a few people that we submitted to every year, so I'm assuming, I'll pull this up, I shouldn't assume. Give me 1 second, I can find this quickly. Okay, last year we transmitted it to the Director of Transportation Services, the Interim Director of Lawrence Transit, the Director of Recreation Services, the School of Journalism, and the University of Daly Kansan. I believe that the majority of those are purely in relation to the resolutions involved in last year's fee bill. Is there anyone else? Obviously, any resolutions we have, we're going to transmit our information and our resolutions to them. Is there anyone else we feel we should add to the transmission here?
Can we have them one more time? Like who's?
Okay. No, and that's purely because like we're gonna include it to anyone we have resolutions to anyway. So like these names I just said, like those are all related to resolutions. That's why it doesn't really matter. It's just an example. Okay, so in person, I'm not seeing anyone extra we want to transmit it to. Okay, online. Okay, nothing online, so we'll go to our advisors.
Historically, it goes to Dr. Tamara Durham, Vice Provost for Student Affairs, and the Chancellor.
That's not reflected in our bill, but I will certainly have that because that's why I asked. I'm like, why is it not listed?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
It goes that way.
Hold on 1 second. I'm running out of space to take notes. This is awful. Okay. I've got that. Anything else on this point here in person or online? Okay. Seeing nothing, thank you. And I believe that takes us through the end of our, let me close this. That takes us through the end of our draft bill. Thank you for your feedback here. We will now move on to resolutions. So I have our most, oh my God, up-to-date version of our resolutions listed here. What we'll do, so we have some comments listed here. We're just gonna go at them in this order, except we're gonna do 2 first because this one isn't new. I just want to bring this up to everybody. I listed the one relating to Student Senate first and just purely semantically, right? Because we can make a resolution for ourselves But our resolutions to everybody else, as has been previously mentioned, these are requests to them. The only thing we bindingly do is give them money. They can spend that money, they're the trustees, they spend that money how they so choose. We can request that they spend it in any one particular way or request that they take actions. But at the end of the day, they are the trustees. So that's why we have it formatted in this way. Let's start with number 2 here, purely because we have already actually taken this one to a vote. After our deliberations, this was the only resolution that we had taken to a vote and passed. This was a resolution that the Student Senate requests that the Student Engagement Center purchase an additional freezer for the campus covered, if possible. Do we have, first, any questions here? It has to be a question. In person, no questions. Online, any questions? Okay. Any motions regarding that are in order? It can also be, if you have a point of parliamentary inquiry too.
I move to strike it from our resolution, or sorry,
Okay.
are we striking it from the fee package? Or-
Okay, so, hold on. So, could you phrase this as a point of parliamentary inquiry? Because I think we need to clarify. I'll just clarify, you don't need to make a point of parliamentary inquiry. Okay, so where we're at right now, this is already something we have passed. With our current interpretation, we decided that our fee package is complete without resolutions. So I'm considering these resolutions as a kind of separate motion here. And we're gonna motion, like I said at the start of today's meeting, we're gonna do them one by one. That means we already motioned and we already passed this. So the only motion I believe that is in order here is a motion to reconsider following the rules to reconsider. Because we've already motioned and passed this. Someone have a point of inquiry about another motion we could do?
I was gonna ask, motions to reconsider can only be made on the same day. So this is set and done.
Does anyone have any points of parliamentary inquiry about another motion? I'm not seeing anything in person, online. Would anybody have a motion to reconsider? Not saying, just like purely, would anybody have that if they could make it? And you have to be on the prevailing side, which means you have to have voted yes to this resolution. I'm not seeing anyone in person. I'm not seeing anyone online. So I'm not gonna make a ruling here because this has not been brought up before me as a point of order. Okay. There's no other motions that are in order. You can ask, I'm giving you all the opportunity to ask me points of inquiry here if you have any questions about what's going on with this particular resolution. I'm not seeing anything. Tanya, go ahead.
Okay, my question.
Speak up again. I have to tell you every time, and I don't know why yours is quieter. I'm so
No,
sorry.
that's so like, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay.
Just to double check, the resolution relating to the fridge was
Yeah.
passed with the initial fee package. And since the fee package cannot be edited, it is already included and we don't need to make further motions on that.
No, that's not my interpretation. I have a slightly different interpretation of where we're standing at the moment. I have an interpretation that we passed the fee package as a whole, and resolutions are not, they are included on the RSF bill, but they're not included in the fee package. So they were not what we passed by the 2/3 vote at the end of the night. The resolution was the vote we took on the resolution. And we just took it earlier at that time. I think that makes the most sense of where we're at right now and why we're reconvening on a separate day to do resolutions after we've already passed the package. So yeah, I will take what you said as a point of parliamentary inquiry regarding the status of the resolutions and what we're looking for. I just want to make sure we're kind of in the same spot procedurally. Robert, do you have a point of parliamentary inquiry?
Yeah, what about amending something previously adopted?
So,
On the prevailing side.
okay, so you have a point of parliamentary inquiry regarding amending something previously adopted. Okay, so for the sake of time, I want to, again, I'm only gonna make a binding ruling if someone makes a point of order. You can only make a point of order after someone makes this motion. I'm not gonna spend however long it will take for me to figure out a ruling here if nobody has that motion. If we were able to amend something previously adopted via Robert's rules, would anybody make that motion in person? Kate, you would make that motion? Okay, so we're seeing people would make that motion. I'm going to respond to this point of parliamentary inquiry, and then once we have the motion, someone can make a point of order if they disagree. This is gonna take a second, I'm very sorry. If someone else has any quick questions in the meantime, I can recognize those, but I need to read about this because I've not read about it recently. Okay, one thing I need to clarify, amend something previously adopted is the motion that can be used if it is desired to change only part of a text or to substitute a different version. Your motion would not strike this, it would change part of the text or substitute a different version. Okay, so that's in order, let me keep checking. Okay, everything's checking out so far. Okay, a few things I want to read. Robert's Rules, section 35(6). When it has previously been moved to reconsider the vote on the main motion and the question can be reached by calling up the motion to reconsider, that means we cannot amend something previously adopted. I don't think that applies. Another circumstance where it can be done, when something has been done as a result of the vote on the main motion that is impossible to undo. This has not been transmitted yet, it's possible to undo. We're meeting everything I'm seeing so far. Okay, great. Let me check one more thing. Okay, great. I'm ready to respond to this point of parliamentary inquiry. Thank you for waiting. So the motion that is purportedly going to be made is amend something previously adopted. This motion will require a second. It is not in order when another has the floor, but that is okay because nobody currently has the floor and there's no pending motion before the committee. It is debatable, so we can enter debate to discuss whether or not we want to amend this. And it will require a 2/3 vote. It only requires a majority with notice, but prior notice was not provided regarding this intent. Okay. With that being said, do we have any questions still in the parliamentary inquiry phase? Any further questions? Seeing no further questions, I will now look for a motion of such. Kate, what is the motion?
I move to amend the second resolution to say the request that the Student Engagement Center take all reasonable measures to prevent reductions to student-facing services. I emailed it to RSF.
Okay, great. Do we have a second? That requires a second. I'm seeing a second from our speaker, Robert Epler. So we will now, we now have that motion before us. Will there be any, okay. We have the motion, it's been seconded. Are there any objections? So I'm looking for unanimous consent. And let me, sorry, before that, I want to pull up the exact text here so we're clear on what we're doing. Thank you for emailing that over. Shoot. That's not. Hold on, y'all. Okay. Entering reviewing mode, we're going to replace this with this. Request that the Student Engagement Center take all reasonable measures to prevent reductions to student-facing services. So It's been motioned, it's been seconded. I'm looking for any objections, meaning anybody that does not think we should amend something previously adopted in this manner. First, in person. Seeing no objections. Online, are there any objections? Okay. Let's go ahead, even though there's no objections, let's go ahead and put this to a vote anyway, just for posterity. Because I don't know if we can adopt this with unanimous consent. Sorry, I don't have Microsoft Forms pulled up, so this might take me a second. Okay, the grammar on this poll title is going to be probably the most atrocious one so far, but we all know what this is referring to. Here, you know, because it's on the screen, this will be all right. Okay, sending this in the Teams in 1
I have
second.
a personal question.
Point of personal privilege.
The students today, or the SMRC is closing at 4 p.m. today, so if you have anything in the office, you should go get your stuff.
Okay, our speakers let everybody know that the SMRC is closing at 4 p.m. So if you have anything in your office, please go get that now. Sorry. What was that? Okay, polls posted. To be clear, a vote yes will amend it as shown. 1 second. Okay. We've now entered voting. A vote yes will amend it to this shown above. So I will hit yes on this revision request, and it'll look like that. A vote no will not, and it'll open the floor back up to motions and revert it to how it used to be. Okay, we are now in a vote. I'm missing 1 vote, it looks like. Thirty more seconds for a vote. Polls closing in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. With 4 votes in affirmation, 1 vote negation, and 1 vote abstaining, this resolution passes with a majority of voting members who have voted. Are there any motions regarding that vote or anything here further? Seeing nothing in person, is there anything online? Okay, we're going to continue with business if there's nothing else regarding that. Thank you all for bearing with me there. We will continue to move forward. We'll bounce up to discuss this now. Be resolved that the Student Senate allocate the 64-cent increase from the line item funding to block funding. This was received from Tanya Singh, I believe. You can start us out with a justification. Go ahead.
Okay. So my justification for this movement from line to block is that we zeroed out entities on fee with the understanding that these services should either remain on block or be moved to block, best exemplified by case management and the University Daily Kansan. Now, I think the 1325, I believe that's currently allocated to block, would be insufficient to achieve this goal, but a 64-cent increase in fee dollars would allow us to more feasibly achieve our goal as a governing body of funding, let's say, vitally necessary services for campus and student well-being on fee and other vital services on block.
Okay, thank you for your justification. I think just for the sake of time, the best way to do this, so you clearly make that motion to make this resolution. Is that correct, Tanya?
That is correct.
Do we have a second here at all? We have a second from Angel Rivera. Are there any objections, meaning would anybody like to speak against this? Okay, I'm seeing an objection from our treasurer, who, while not a voting member, can still be recognized for speaking, which means we will move into speeches in affirmation and speeches in negation. I think this is relatively simple, so let's do 3 minutes. We need to start with affirmation first, unless there's no affirmation, right? Tanya, you already gave some reasoning. Would you like to give a speech in affirmation now? You can defer it and let the speech in negation go first. That's okay with me.
Yeah, I will defer my speaking rights to the treasurer and anyone who would like to give a speech in affirmation before myself.
Okay, well, I think the treasurer would like to give a speech in negation. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay, the treasurer would like to give a speech in negation. Is there anybody besides Tanya who'd like to give a speech in affirmation? Okay, I'm not seeing anybody. Tanya, you've got the rights to the floor for 3 minutes is what we'll do for speeches for the sake of time. Would you like to give a 3-minute speech with questions?
Sure,
like.
I can absolutely do that.
Okay, you can start whenever.
All right. A lot of my justification was already encapsulated in my first speech, though to crystallize that sentiment even more, we see that I'm of the belief that it is important that we fund independent journalism and have a free press in all forms at the University of Kansas. I am also of the opinion that students should have access to resources like case management. And when we passed the fee package, we passed it with the understanding that our colleagues on block would be deliberating funding of the UDK and case management, as well as other vital institutions, such as the Lead Center, such as the Natural History.
Tanya, one thing, I'm going to pause your time. Please make sure that what you're talking about is confined to the question before us, which is just the resolution for Student Senate to reallocate that money. So talk about the Student Senate activity fee. You can talk about block because block's under that. I just want to make sure that we're keeping things germane here to the topic at hand. And I understand where you're taking that speech and why you mentioned what you mentioned so far. Just please try to make sure it is germane to the question. You're all good so far, nothing stricken from the record, just an FYI. And your time will resume at 2 minutes, 15 seconds remaining whenever you're ready.
All right, absolutely. Thank you, Nathan. But for those reasons, I do believe that this allocation from line to block is integral for the success of KU's vital student resources. A flat ask, honestly, for line doesn't seem egregious, though this decrease in block funding would impair our goals with this required student fee. So it is necessary and integral. Thank you.
Okay, you have 1:40 remaining for questions. Are there any questions from the audience? Seeing no questions from the audience in person, are there any questions online? Okay, seeing no questions, thank you. I will now recognize our treasurer for a 3-minute speech in negation.
Yes. The required student fee committee voted on this package and it approved it in its state as laid out in scenario B on the screen right there. Since we being the required student fee committee did decide to cut several academic units with the plan in mind being to move them to block, there should have been potentially more discussion to look at scenario A, which is a dollar more total. But I think that we should also take a more nuanced approach instead of moving the entire 64 cents from line to block. I would be fine in approval for like a little more nuanced cut where a portion of that 64 cents goes to block while still increasing line. As there's a 38-cent decrease in the Wednesday night fund, that was done with the plan in mind, having those less established organizations go to line for that funding. So they have the ability to plan out their events and still receive the more funding than they would have just through Wednesday night. Another avenue is CDF, and there is more money in that, but that is also receiving a cut. So there's quite a few units within the Student Senate budget and CDF budget that took a decrease with the plan in mind being to open up more money on RSF as well as within block. So I would be fine with a move of some portion of the line item fund to go to block, but I think the whole 64 cents and keeping line item flat while also more than pretty much having the Wednesday night fund isn't fair to those less established organizations.
Okay, thank you. You've got a minute left for questions. I'm going to pause your time really quick to make a point of information. Okay, for point of information, if you vote yes on this, because we have a motion, it was seconded, and that's reflected in the minutes. Right? Okay. We have a motion, it was seconded. If you vote yes on this poll when it will be posted, then that means that the resolution as written by Tanya will be approved. If you vote no, it'll open the floor back up to other resolutions, and we'll kind of stick in the similar vein if someone has a similar proposal. Oh my gosh, there was something else I was gonna, oh yeah. Our treasurer is a non-voting member, which means that he does not have the ability to make motions. But if you have a motion you would like to make and a member who can make motions would like to do so, then we can go ahead and do that, right? You have a minute left for questions. Would you like to take any questions?
Yeah, I'm open to any questions.
Okay, great. We start your 1 minute.
Wait, I have a point of inquiry before we start.
Yeah, before we start questions, go ahead.
Is this binding, given that it doesn't say like requests? Like, or does Charlie have discretion over this? Like he's a recipient of.
You know, let me read our constitution.
Like, can't you just do whatever you want?
That's what I'm saying. So what I'm checking for, if in our constitution it says the hold on. If in our constitution it says the treasurer is the trustee, then yes.
Yes.
I need to check that.
The treasurer is the trustee for the Student Senate.
Okay, I believe that's true. And I'm not seeing any other information, which means that this similarly is a non-binding resolution to ourselves. Do we have another point of inquiry here?
Yeah, can we not just change the verb from resolve to order and make it binding to ourselves? Since I'm just curious, since the treasurer is a legislative officer.
I'm gonna say no, for two reasons. One, we've already passed a fee package. Two, there are not many of us here. I think that this is getting too close to actually changing what the allocation is. And I'm worried that we don't have enough input to really do that right now. So I'm gonna keep it to the be it resolved verbiage. Verbiage is the only thing we're really approving here. Any further points of parliamentary inquiry here? I've been checking in person a lot. Tanya, go ahead.
I would like to ask Charlie, as the trustee of the Student Senate, what allocation between block, between line going to block, would you be amenable to?
Okay, so that is a question for our treasurer, which means I'm gonna restart the time now and you can answer whenever you're ready.
I would be amenable to 38 cents of the 64 remaining in line and the remaining 26 going to block. That would be to keep the amount within line and Wednesday night flat while giving that additional 24 cents to block. That way, the less established organizations still have the ability to pull from the same amount of capital that they had in the previous year.
Okay. What other questions do we have for our treasurer? Our speaker?
I'd like to ask the treasurer if they're planning on asking for an increase or flat or decrease from last year's block application for Senate.
I believe it was a $1.82 decrease as passed and laid out in scenario view.
Okay, we have time for maybe one more question. I'm not seeing anything in person now. How about online? Tanya, take it away.
I would like to ask the speaker if they are concerned about the financial viability of the more established organizations on block, given the $1.82 decrease and the long-standing history of many organizations on block, coupled with the proposals to move other organizations to block.
Okay, go ahead if you like.
Absolutely. Would I have made the same exact decisions and votes as was made Friday? No. Do I think that if the opportunity presented itself to alter the total ask in lieu of the events that have happened and the decisions that were made to move several well-established organizations to block, do I think that there should be more money in block? Yes. And I am concerned. But I don't think that that is mutually exclusive to the fact that all organizations should have the opportunity, and that just because one decision was made means that that needs to send ripple effects that negatively affects all other organizations.
Okay, so we've heard a speech in affirmation, we've heard a speech in negation, so we will take a vote on the resolution as it is currently written. Give me 1 second because I always forget to write the poll as we're debating. Let me pull up the text of the resolution. Okay. We're gonna start about in 1 second, y'all. Okay. Polls posted, no talking. This poll is going to close in 10 seconds, because I believe we have nearly all voting members accounted for who are present. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Poll is closed with, let me double check this. Okay, all good. With 5 votes in affirmation and 1 vote negation, this resolution passes as it stands. I'm not very clapping today. I feel like okay. Are there any points or motions in regards to this vote?
Sorry, I have a point of inquiry.
Yeah.
Like, just to be clear, even though it doesn't say requests, it's still not binding.
I agree with what our treasurer said. I confirmed during the break, our treasurer is the trustee. Here, I'll read it because I had it pulled up. the students. Please let me find it quickly. It's embarrassing. Ah. I know how to find it. I'm sorry, guys. 1 second. Okay. In Title V, Article 3, Section 2, Student Senate Activity Fee, it says the trustee, the Student Senate, acting through the treasurer, shall be the trustee for the Student Senate Activity Fee. So our treasurer was correct in stating that he is the trustee for the Student Senate Activity Fee. In response to this point of parliamentary inquiry, do not see a reason why the treasurer should act differently to any other trustees. Like I understand we are representing Student Senate, right? But I think we should apply it in the exact same way because we had the opportunity and we did vote on this earlier. There were other allocations we could have made and we did not do that. Okay. Any further points or motions here? Okay, seeing none, it is so ordered. So we have now passed 2 resolutions. Sorry. I need to double check something. This passed, correct?
What?
We amended something previously adopted, okay. So this passed, which means I can hit accept here. Okay, I'm just making sure we're all under the same interpretation. I need to fix that later, but that's okay. All right, so we passed 2 resolutions. First, a resolution to allocate the 64-cent increase from line item funding to block funding. And second, requesting that the Student Engagement Center take all reasonable measures to prevent reductions to student-facing services. Yeah, and that was through a motion to amend something previously adopted. Now we will move on to student support case management. That is listed next. Okay, so this was a resolution brought by Omawunmi, who is here over Teams. So I will let you give some justification here. First, I will recognize our advisor for a point of information regarding this resolution, and then that can help inform Omawunmi or anyone else who wishes to comment here. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, so if you have a point of information regarding anything here, or if you'd like to give any more additional context.
I mean, I just think the point of information is they already have a clear framework. I think it's hard, I mean, you only had 15 to 20 minutes with them. I think it's hard to have a full comprehensive understanding of what they do. But their cases are already, like some students, I mean, there's already a framework and some students meet with them many times. Some students say, I'm good, no thank you. I mean, I appreciate this, but I think it's telling them to do what they're already doing.
Okay, just to be clear, there is currently no motion regarding this resolution. It's just something that was provided to me beforehand. Omawunmi, do you think you would still like to make this motion for this resolution? And if so, do you have any justification?
Okay, yeah, so I appreciate what the advisor said. However, I remember asking clearly during the hearing what is their eligibility criteria to determine the severity of cases they actually accept as caseload, rather than having to refer them to services. And I remember clearly that the presenter said that they just accept students. And I went further to check their website to see the services they actually offer. And it actually shows that their services should target more of severity of cases. So I still cannot align why the presenter said that they accept several cases irrespective, as long as they have received that request. So I'm going more with what I hear in the hearing, even with the fact that I went further to check their website just to see the service they provide.
Okay, great. So we have that justification provided there. I'll give a quick point of information / reminder. Everybody, please just remember these are resolutions, non-binding. The trustees can choose how to best spend their money or how to best implement their practices to benefit the student body. But this is just something for them to consider. Omawunmi, would you like to make that motion for the resolutions? Okay, I'm seeing a nod from Omowumi. Do we have a second?
Yes,
We need a
yes.
second for the resolution. Okay. Tanya, that is a second, is that correct?
Yes, that is a second.
Okay, it has been seconded. I'm now going to look for objections. Is there anybody who would like to object and bring this? I'm seeing objections from Angel Rivera. So that means that we will go ahead and move this into speeches. I'm going to do the exact same thing and offer Omowumi a chance to speak here first. Would you like to give a speech and affirmation first, Omowumi? Would you like someone else to? Okay, I'm seeing you want to give a speech and affirmation. You'll have 3 minutes for the speech and questions starting whenever. And I will pull up the text right here so we can all see it. I'll even try to zoom in a bit. This is kind of...
Okay, so I understand that the student support and case management units, they provide services to students, and this services is based on close monitoring, which means that they actually deal with caseload. And caseload is you having to accept students from the beginning of their problem till they are able to actually get to the end of the problem, which means at every point in time, you are able to provide feedback to students and also refer them to services or resources as they need till they are sure that they are okay to be on their own. Now, I remember that during the last hearing, they were able to provide data when it comes to the services they have provided to students so far, about 1,000 plus, 1,200 of students have actually received services, and this keeps growing. At the moment, they have like 3 case managers that actually provide more than 40 cases, that handles more than 40 cases per student. This is a lot already. And that was why, looking at this data, I actually asked, knowing that I've also worked in case management as my previous work experience, I asked, what is the eligibility criteria that actually determine that this case is severe and needs case management monitoring when there are other services like BETNASH or CAPS and other services that could also help with students. And I was given that based on the presenter's response, I was informed that there was no eligibility criteria. As long as they receive a request from any student, they are mandated to actually take it as a caseload. For me, this directly translates why their case managers presently have a lot of caseload. Which doesn't mean that caseload would not increase if there is clear eligibility criteria, but that helps to know that this service is provided to students that dearly needs this service. So based on the resolution that I'm presenting, that this entity should actually provide a clear framework, of which I went ahead to check their website to see what actually should be their framework or model in accepting students. So they should provide and stick to that clear framework that would help to manage or minimize their caseload. And as time continues, if there is a need to actually increase their case managers due to eligibility criteria that are being followed in order to monitor cases, then that is that should be well presented to the committee. Also, there could be a referral unit that would actually support students.
I think that is your time. Unfortunately, that was 3 minutes for the speech. Hold on for 1 second. I have a quick point of information. I'm also going to start, I'm going to start a recording of this Teams. I forgot to do this earlier. Obviously, we are live streaming, so that recording is going to exist. This may be nice because Teams kind of tends to have better transcription, and maybe they'll pick up the audio better than the YouTube live stream. So this is just a backup. That's not important. My point of information regarding to student support and case management. I want to make it clear, in our proposal currently, we are not allocating them any money out of the required student fee. I don't see a reason why we constitutionally can't include a resolution for them on our bill. But that means they are not even, in regards to what I said earlier, like, they're not even a trustee of a student fee. This is to the same effect of just sending a resolution regarding anything to anybody from Student Senate. So that, I just wanted to make sure that status is clear to everybody. We're not allocating them any money in the current proposal. Okay, with that being said, we've had a speech and affirmation. We do not have time for questions. Is there a speech and negation? Kate, you have a speech and negation? Okay, let me set a timer. Okay, 3 minutes starting whenever.
Okay, my first point was gonna be exactly what Nathan just said. This resolution seems kind of out of order considering they're not a trustee and we're not allocating them any money. It's kind of like in my opinion, it's kind of rude to be like, you don't get any money and we're gonna tell you how to do your job. My second thing is that I think that the resolution, like in a vacuum, is kind of outside the scope of our job because we're here to determine the fee package, not how the organization runs. And like, if you look at the other resolutions, they're all like fiscal in nature, and this one is decidedly not. It's just, I just think that this is a really strange like hill to die on for us. And then third and finally, I want to echo the sentiments of what Wong said. We're not the experts, and if she thinks that this is a misunderstanding of how the organization works, then it's probably a misunderstanding of how the organization works. It's like, just by and large, this is not our job, and I think that this would be like in bad faith to pass this. I yield my time.
Okay, what questions do we have? Angel?
I would ask, don't you think that such a resolution instructing an entity to act in a certain way when it comes to severity of cases would raise some legal implications?
Yeah, I would.
For the university.
Mhm. And again, it's like outside the scope of the information that we received and the job that we're here to do.
Okay, is there anyone online who has any questions? I'm not seeing any questions online. I'll go back in person. I'm not seeing any questions anywhere, which means we will end speeches and proceed to a vote. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions. The poll is posted, and we are now voting. Let me put the resolution text on the screen. Poll is closing in 10. Actually, let me make sure we're all. Okay. Poll's closing in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. With a vote of 4 in negation and 2 in affirmation, this resolution fails. I'm in reviewing mode. I'm gonna do it like this so it shows in this document history. Surely it. Maybe I have to clear this comment. Let's see if this will work. Aha. Okay, great. We can now move on. So this next one needs a little bit of context. Is this, before we move on, do you have a motion or?
Yes,
Yeah.
not a motion, just a quick point of clarification or information just regarding my role as trustee for the Student Senate activity fee. It's laid out in 050302 B1 in stipulations. It says that we need to ensure that the Senate activity fee is being used
Sorry, I'm just laughing because I didn't read that. It was right under there.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, okay, so did I. So it's both of our mistakes. It says that in derivative sources of funding, the student-centered activity fee shall be used to provide block funding, line item funding, and Wednesday night funding at amounts set during the fee review process. So the amount that is passed or amended within this process shall be the amount that it is set at. I have no leeway in deciding how that gets allocated outside of what's decided on here.
Okay, so I obviously have not made a ruling here yet, and I don't know if this is even actually my spot to make a ruling. It is in the budget code, but this is a little bit wishy-washy. My question is, we passed, so like we've already talked about this bill, right? And this is what we have passed. From my understanding, this is still the fee review process. And I don't think that what our treasurer has just read and what we are currently doing with resolutions and what I said about trustees having leeway, I don't think that that is in conflict with another. Because obviously, like, our treasurer presented a fee package, but so did every other fee entity, and so did all the other trustees. I don't see any particular difference between it. So I think it's fair to proceed as we're currently doing, where it is a non-binding resolution attached to these allocations right here. The point of inquiry is well taken. Thank you for bringing that to my attention, because like I said, I did not read that, and that is my fault. It was listed right there. I will go to our speaker first, because I think you might have a further point of parliamentary inquiry.
No. But I move to reconsider that resolution. That's one who voted on the first hearing side. I've been swayed.
And just
Hold on. I need to check. Okay. I've confirmed that our speaker was on the prevailing side, so the motion to reconsider would probably be in order. Let's go with another point of parliamentary inquiry.
not inquiry, just point of information to the group that despite any understanding of how the trustee has leeway over the student-centered activity fee allocation, how we decide on that today will not affect my decision and I will not go against what's in the Constitution. Whatever is approved in this process, I will approve.
Okay.
As set out.
Okay. Yeah. I apologize for the confusion here. Just to clarify, the place that we are at, and I'll just reiterate the way I've squared it away. Typically, we do the deliberations and the resolutions on one day if possible, or at least like 2 subsequent days. So it is all kind of one continued group of hearings. We decided this year that we wanted to pass a package, and it was, so far it has been ruled in order that we could vote on this package as is currently shown on the screen, and then reconvene later for resolutions. So like I said, and I'll just reiterate, I think it's in order still for us to have this package. This is the money we're giving out, and then today we're giving resolutions about to the trustees how we see it would be a best fit for that money to be allocated. And just like the speeches that were currently given, it seems like we are in agreement that our resolution should be more bounded towards the actual fiscal considerations that are being made. All that to say is, I think we're still in order. The treasurer has the discretion here because this is all part of the fee review process. What we will do now, there's a motion to reconsider. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second from our internal affairs director. Let
I
me double check. Let me find the motion. I want to make sure everything's in order, but I don't see why this motion to reconsider can't be. Could we get justification for the motion to reconsider? Because there's clear criteria in Robert's rules for when a motion to reconsider can be made.
As someone who voted to approve the resolution, I now want to, given this clarification, want to change my vote, and I think that other members of the committee may feel the same.
Okay. Let me ask you a quick follow-up. So the purpose of reconsidering a vote is to permit correction of hasty, ill-advised, or erroneous action, or to take into account added information or a changed situation that has developed since taking the vote. Given my point of parliamentary inquiry response I just gave, do you feel like that is required? So do you think there has been hasty,
Yeah.
ill-advised, or erroneous action, and if so, can you describe?
Yes,
How so, just quickly?
it's just a bad look. I think it was hastily made without fully looking at the Constitution.
Yeah. Given that it was right there.
Yeah, I understand that it doesn't really have anything to do with it.
Okay, great. I see everything is in order, so motion to reconsider is recognized. Is there anybody who objects to this, meaning that you would vote no, or I believe this is debate? Think about that for 1 second as I check if this is debatable.
Yeah, if it is debatable, I will object to that motion.
Yeah, and I'll confirm it is debatable and we have an objection, meaning we'll go into speeches here. Robert, since you made the motion, I will let you go first on a speech and affirmation. We're gonna do 3 minutes again. The motion to be reconsidered is debatable, which means debate can go into that question too. So anything you mentioned about the resolution itself will be germane. Okay, 3 minutes starting whenever. Do you want to do a speech and affirmation?
Oh, okay, good. I do not want to do this.
Okay, does anyone want to do a speech and affirmation? I'm seeing one from our internal affairs director. Let's do that because I want to keep the order the same. Okay, 3 minutes starting whenever.
Once again, I think everyone here is really smart and really capable, but I don't think that we're the experts in this situation, and I think that we should be deferring to Charlie. We're actually paying him the big bucks to be making these decisions, and I think that it should be at his discretion. Okay, maybe not the big bucks, some objection to that, but I think it would be, like, it's ill-advised to, like, disagree with what he's saying, given that, like, he put a lot of time into this, and this is literally his job.
Do you want to take any questions?
I will take questions.
Okay, in the room first, anyone? Seeing no questions on the team, any questions? Okay, I'm not seeing any questions anywhere, so that is the time for our speech and affirmation. We'll now move on to speech and negation. Tanya, I'm assuming you have one?
Yeah, I do have one.
Okay, 3 minutes starting whenever.
I think that even with knowledge of this this provision of the Constitution, we are still well within our rights to tell Charlie as the trustee what we would like him to do as a responsible steward of student senate funds. Now, I have the utmost respect for Charlie, though given our deliberations and fee, it seems the most prudent to kindly request that he consider consider moving funds around. Even within the questioning session, he said he would consider moving up to 38 cents from line to block. So I think even adding 1 more cent to block to fund these vital services that students are so passionate about funding is not only important, but it is warranted and integral.
Okay, would you like to take questions?
Yeah, I will take questions.
Okay, in the room, do we have any questions? Online, I'm not seeing any questions online. Do you have any questions? I'm not seeing any questions. That being the case, thank you. I'm gonna really quickly check something because I want to make sure you all have the most information possible. Okay, I'm going to read something from Robert's Rules really quick to clarify. If the motion to reconsider is adopted, the effect is to place before the assembly again the question on which the vote has been reconsidered in the exact position it occupied the moment before it was voted on originally. So, with this poll I'm about to post, if you vote yes on the motion to reconsider, that means that we will now be talking about this resolution 1 again, and then we'll debate, potentially amend it, whatever you want to do there, it'll be brought before us on the table again. If you vote no, that means that you do not want to reconsider, and then our previous action, which was to pass this resolution as it stands here, will be sustained. post this? Okay. Poll is posted. Please do a point of parliamentary inquiry if you do not understand what a vote yes and no means.
I apologize. So just to double check, a vote yes would mean that we reconsider the amendment, and a vote no would mean we want it to remain the same.
Yes, but a vote yes means we reconsider this resolution. So we would now have this resolution I've highlighted before us again to talk about.
Okay.
Okay. 30 more seconds. Okay. Poll is closing. With a vote of 4 negation and 2 in affirmation, this motion to reconsider fails. Meaning our previous action to resolve that the Student Senate allocate the 64-cent increase from line item funding to block funding is our binding action as a committee. To clarify, I responded to a point of parliamentary inquiry. I never made a ruling. I don't know if I even can rule on this portion of the Constitution. So we will resolve that through whatever means we have possible to us as a Student Senate if this issue arises. Okay. We'll now go ahead and move on. So quick clarification I have here. I think 3 and 4 are very similar because one concerns the Kansas Memorial Union Corporation and the UDK, and then one just concerns the UDK. For some context here, and I think some resolutions have been sent in the meantime, and I believe some of you here today may also have some resolutions, so I want to make sure we get to those. I think what's best, I received both these resolutions as a pair from Angel, I believe that's correct, and I think I received them first, and I received something similar from Tanya also. So this is what I put up here. This will be the question that we talk about first. The way we'll do this is what we're going to discuss now. But if you think there's a better way to do this, then we'll take a motion to amend, or whenever we get it to as a question, you can vote no and then open the floor back up to other motions. All of those are perfectly fine ways to go about this. But let's start with the Katy Memorial Union Corporation, and Angel, I'll give you the first chance to explain whatever motion you might be about to make here.
I have a point of parliamentary inquiry.
Sorry, one second. We have a point of parliamentary inquiry. We're going to answer that first. Go ahead.
Sorry, I apologize, Angel. I did not mean to interrupt you. Is it possible to move to consider these resolutions jointly?
Let's not do that. They are 2 different actors. So what we'll do, we're still going to do a vote on each of them individually, especially because there might be further discussion on the Memorial Union Corporation. People may have other resolutions to add there. So
Okay.
what we'll do, we'll just do the Memorial Union Corporation and talk about what we have in front of us, and then we'll look for other motions regarding Memorial Union Corporation, and then we'll go to the PDK. And then we can't pass resolutions that are in conflict with each other. Okay. Seeing nothing further, let's go to Angel.
Okay, as I had previously discussed last week with the precedent that the unions had set with KGHK, the radio station having a mass multimedia corporation under them, I think it would be appropriate for them to consider the absorbing of the UDK, as I've discussed tirelessly, that the UDK has become a political issue for years and years and years now, and I think it's be appropriate as a way of having them have a steady funding source as well as general protection from such political issues that have come up in the past several years.
Okay. So that is the justification to this resolution. I'm gonna go ahead and look for a motion for that resolution regarding to just solely this text for the Kansas Memorial Union Corporation. One thing we should clarify, and this could just be adopted by unanimous consent as a friendly amendment, is that their official legal name, or is it the Kansas Memorial Union Corporation?
Google.
Sorry, I just wanted to confirm. And before we do amendments, it's probably in order to make sure we have a motion before us. Do you motion for this resolution?
Yes.
Is there a second? There's a second from our Internal Affairs Director. Are there any objections, meaning we would enter debate or potentially amendments?
I believe I have it.
Yeah.
I believe it is the University of Kansas Memorial Corporation.
University of Kansas Memorial Corporation. I'll double check. I'll check their bylaws.
Check their bylaws.
I just saw information also indicating that it was the University of Kansas Memorial Corporation.
That sounds right. Okay. So we have that motion. I haven't seen any objections yet. Let me call one more time if there's no objections. Okay. If there's no objections, we won't do speeches. So then I'll need a motion to amend to fix this error with the writing of the resolution. That doesn't matter. Hopefully this is adopted by unanimous consent. Okay, motion to edit it. Yeah, I'm seeing
Yeah, I
that.
was gonna say, Tanya.
Okay, I'll see that. I see that motion from Tanya, seconded by Angel. Okay, let me make that edit.
I'm sorry, I have another point of parliamentary inquiry while you do that.
Sure. Wait 1 second for me to make this edit, and then it'll be recognized.
No worries.
Okay. Are there any objections to making this edit? Seeing no objections, this amendment is adopted via unanimous consent. I promise I know how to spell university. Lovely.
Oh my god.
I love reviewing them. Okay, I'm ready for your point of parliamentary.
So just to clarify, any and all resolutions relating to the University of Kansas Memorial Corporation, regardless of their relation to the UDK, will be considered all at once, whether that be generated or existing?
No, we can do multiple resolutions to the same body in different votes. So the
Okay.
current motion before us is what is written right now. So we can do another motion if we have another resolution for them. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, great. So this is our current resolution for the University of Kansas Memorial Corporation. I'll do one last call to see if there's any objections. We're gonna do a vote no matter what, but if there's no objections, we won't do speeches. I'm not seeing any objections in the room. Online, any objections? Okay, I'll put it to a vote. Okay, as soon as this poll is posted, please no speaking. Poll's posted. Very sorry about y'all being able to hear every single email again. Okay. Poll's posted. Okay, polls closing in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. With 5 votes in affirmation and 1 vote in negation, this passes. Okay. So before us, we have this resolution that we have passed for the University of Kansas Memorial Corporation. Do we have any other resolutions for the University of Kansas Memorial Corporation? Our Internal Affairs Director? You emailed it to me?
What?
Did you email it to me?
I emailed it to me, but can you also make the change that we just made because I used Angel's wording? It needs to be University of Kansas
Yeah.
Memorial.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Here's how we'll do this. Dot. Oh no, I'm exiting review mode, I'm so sorry. I promise the change history still reflects this. Okay, and then in theory, I can. We'll go like this.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, does that accurately reflect the motion you're about to make?
Yes.
Okay, and I'll read this out loud. Request that the University of Kansas Memorial Corporation initiate a review and pursue renegotiating the memorandum of understanding regarding the use of Burge Union student required campus fee. Okay, does, would you like to give a quick justification for that? Don't get it, because well, if we have speeches, then you'll give a speech, but just a quick reasoning.
And this is my own personal opinion, looking at the memorandum, the Memorial Corps is in violation of a number of provisions. It's codified in our Constitution, that memorandum is in our Constitution, it's legally binding, they're in violation of it, I want to renegotiate the contract.
Okay, so that is a justification. Do you move this resolution?
I do.
Okay, is there a second? Second from our speaker. Are there any objections, meaning we'll go to speeches?
Not an objection, but may I offer something to make it more clear?
Yeah, point of information from our advisor.
It's not clear who you want them to renegotiate with in the motion as it stands, so maybe be clear that you want them to renegotiate with Student Center.
Okay.
Okay,
We're
so-
the other party on the contract. There's only 2 signees and it's us and them.
Okay, so we can consider that as a motion to amend if we feel it's necessary.
Just a suggestion.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you, I appreciate
I'm
that.
open to it.
Are there any objections? And to be clear, we can still do a motion to amend if there's no objections. Objections will just signify we want speeches here. Okay, I'm not seeing any objections. So with that being said, is there an amendment by anybody?
Can I have 1 second?
It's okay.
Yeah, I would motion to amend to add after Miranda with KU Student Senate at the end.
At the end, with KU Student Senate. Okay. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what has been motioned. There's a second from our speaker. Okay. Are there any objections to this amendment to the original motion? And to be clear, this objection, if there's no objections, we're going to adopt this amendment with unanimous consent. Not the resolution, just the quick change we made. Okay. I'm not seeing any objections, so this amendment is adopted. So now it is clear who the University of Kansas Memorial Corporation is renegotiating with. We now have a motion before us. It's a motion, it's been seconded. I'll check one more time. Are there any objections? If there are objections, we'll go to speeches. Seeing no objections, let me get that poll posted. posted, please vote. This is what we are voting on. A vote yes will adopt this resolution, and a vote no will remove it. I probably spelled it wrong. Yeah, absolutely. I spelled it. Disregard the name of the poll. This is what we're voting on. What's highlighted. We're gonna close this poll very soon. Poll's closing in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. With 6 votes in affirmation, this resolution passes. Okay. I'm receiving a lot of resolutions over email. Please keep sending those. I appreciate that. When we have the text, that makes it a lot easier. I'm still going to proceed with calling on people, and then they'll refer to their resolution, and then if they have it in text, then we'll copy it in like we've been doing. I just want to make it clear that we probably don't have the bandwidth today to continue for very long. If we start losing people, we're already borderline. I don't think we should continue more than needed today. So that's just a quick point of information there. That being said, I'll see online first if there's any additional resolutions regarding the University of Kansas Memorial Corporation. Tanya?
Yes, I actually emailed it to you. Maybe
Did you read
like
it
5
out?
minutes. Yes, let me go find that in my emails. Okay. Requests that the University of Kansas Memorial Corporation allocate $3.93 to completely fund KJHK in recognition of KJHK's continued excellence in student public broadcasting.
Okay, let me copy that onto the document so we can all see that. Okay, so this is what we are discussing. I think that provides enough justification. So we'll do speeches if we need more justification than that. So I want to see, obviously, you make this motion. Is there a second? There's a second from Angel. Are there any objections, meaning we'd like to move into speeches regarding this resolution? All right. Is that an objection? No, I'm not seeing an objection. Well, what is your hand raised for?
That was substitute.
Is it a motion to amend?
No.
Okay, we'll recognize that in a second, but yeah, I'm not seeing any objections. So we're not going to move into speeches. What is the subsidiary motion to the motion for this resolution?
I move that this resolution be combined and considered and debate and vote together with the 2 resolutions for the UDK.
Seconded.
I'm
Oh.
amenable to that. I think that's friendly.
Oh, I see what you're saying now.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought initially you meant move it down under the UDK, and I'm like, that makes sense.
Join.
Okay, yeah, could you show me, just so we're very clear, what number is that on the table of rules relating to motions?
Your table's different.
Shoot. What is the, like, I get this to save time, and I don't want to spend time trying to figure out how we can do it. So I'll be really quick, and then I'll probably just recognize this. I just want to be careful here because I don't want to cut off debate regarding those other resolutions.
Yeah, if there's debate, then I would withdraw my motion.
Okay, so here's what we'll do. So we have a motion to combine the vote for this new resolution that's currently highlighted, and then the two resolutions below for the University of Daily Kansas. Do we have a second? We have a second from Esperanza. Are there any objections? So you should object if you want debate on these individually. I'm seeing no objections in person. Online, are there any objections? I'm seeing no objections online. Okay. It is so ordered. Let me know if you feel like we need a vote on that. We can take a vote on that. This is a subsidiary motion. We've been doing subsidiary motions by unanimous consent so far. Okay. So that means the new motion before us includes all of these resolutions. In that spirit, I will go ahead and read this. The next part, and this makes sense, this UDK resolution is in line with what we've already approved for the University of Kansas Memorial Corporation, just the other side of the coin. So I'll read these. The Student Senate requests that the University of Daily Kansas explore supplemental funding mechanisms, including but not limited to block funding, to support its long-term financial sustainability, and remain open to good faith discussions with the Kansas Union concerning the potential integration of services, resources, or administrative functions. Okay, so it's been moved that these be combined. Is there a motion to vote here? There's a motion to vote from Esperanza. There's a second from Angel. Are there any objections, meaning you would like to enter debate on these three resolutions as combined? I'm seeing nothing in the room, and I'm seeing nothing on Teams. Okay, let's put it to a vote. Okay, that poll is set. I'll just do it for information. We're not gonna do it anymore.
Aye.
Waiting on one response.
Is it me?
Yes. Okay.
It wasn't going through?
Oh, that's okay. 10 more seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, the poll has closed. With 6 votes in affirmation, these resolutions pass. Okay. So, we still have the floor open for some more resolutions. I do have a quick point of information before that. Just to clarify, when we were discussing on the RSF bill right here, for whether or not we can include amendments to the student fees like section of the budget code, for SAPEC, we did include it in the fee bill. We're not going to bring these back up. We've already moved on in the agenda. I just thought you should all know. It's not going to be on our fee bill this time, and I think that's fine. There's still constitutional means for us to include it if we feel that is warranted. Okay. So back on the resolutions page, we just went online. Who in person Yeah, who in person has any resolutions? I'm seeing no more resolutions in person. Are there any more online? Tanya, do you have a resolution?
Sorry, y'all. Last resolution. It relates to Safe Ride,
Okay.
and I can read it out.
Let me just paste it because I think I have it.
Okay. Yeah, you have it over email. Yeah.
This one's not gonna be pasted as nicely, but. Okay, is this correct?
Yes, that is.
Okay, go ahead, start reading it out while I edit it.
Okay. Requests that KU Transportation Services consider measures to limit the misuse of Safe Ride, not limited to, but including restriction of service to users with multiple cancellations and/or no-shows, restrictions on permissible drop-off locations via the Safe Ride service, and restriction of service to users who have been reported to pose clear safety threats to Safe Ride drivers and/or other Safe Ride passengers.
Okay, I will give a quick point of information here that I think could be helpful. I'm gonna read a resolution from last year. Am I crazy? Hold on. Yes, okay, I found it. I'm gonna read a resolution from last year, because it's similar. I just think everybody should be aware. On the RSF fiscal year 26 bill, there was a resolution that the Student Senate requests that Lawrence Transit and KU Transportation Services study and implement programs to reduce Safe Ride cancellation, which may include action on users who frequently request Safe Ride service and then cancel the service or do not show up to the pickup location. Obviously, this necessarily hasn't been able to be implemented with the reduction of Safe Ride services to the degree that it has been this year. I believe that the Transit Commission would be able to speak best to this, but we have the resolution that's been introduced. Do we have any points of information or inquiry here? Robert?
Point of order.
Point of order. Okay. Point of order, quorum has been called. Let's hold off because this takes precedence.
Guys, let's just trust the Transit Commission on this one.
Yeah. I'm on it.
Okay, let's check our quorum. So we have present here at the moment, we have myself as the chair, we have Esperanza, we have Angel, we have Kate, we have Robert, we have Charlie, we have Henry, and then on teams, we have Tanya, and we have Omowunmi. Are there any other members of the required student fee committee that are present that I have not just listed? Okay, seeing nobody, we have 9 people. Our quorum is 10. So that means we do not have quorum. Is there anything further? What is this?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion to adjourn. Whenever, to be clear, whenever we don't have quorum, there's a couple. One of the only motions that is in order is a motion to adjourn, which means we cannot do any further business such as this motion, which hasn't been adopted yet. Hold on 1 second. I want to make sure we're all good. That does take us through the end of our agenda, which means I don't see a need to meet further. Is there anything before this motion to adjourn? We don't have quorum, it's been confirmed, but I'll still answer questions. Tanya?
Okay, sorry. One last point of inquiry.
Yeah.
When the fee package gets passed, can I make an amendment to include my resolution?
No, the Finance Council cannot amend the fee package or any part of it. They can only remand it by voting no. So it would have to come back here if we wanted to add more resolutions to it.
Okay.
Do you have any follow-ups or anyone else?
Happy Friday, everyone.
Happy Friday indeed.
The
Happy
13th.
Friday.
Happy Valentine's Day, actually.
Basically, Tanya, do you have anything else? Sorry, you're kind of quiet.
Oh, sorry. No. Happy Friday, everyone.
Okay, the motion to adjourn was made. It was seconded. Thank you.